Streaming right now, and there we are live on the YouTuber. Sherwin, keep Bob company for one
That's
moment.
right. Rusty's got a couple things he has to punch around and do. Obviously, we super appreciate you doing this, Bob, and we're really glad that that your current employment allows you to do that. I think you're going to have fun with this, or at least we hope you will. We're just here for fun. I mean, it's really.
Yeah.
We're entertainment first, NASCAR second, I think is kind of the way our mantra is. So goofing off is welcomed. However you want to do that. You'll probably get asked questions that will almost force you to do that. Whether that's outside of your natural paradigm or not is up to you, but that's kind of what we do around here is we do talk NASCAR. We are smart. We generally dialed into what the sport's doing, but we also like to goof off.
Speak for yourself.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah. So let's see. Anybody hanging out? We got a couple folks. Matt DiBenedetto fan finally on for Bob. Yeah. We've been people been wanting you on for a long time, man. You're a very special
I can't
guest.
tell you how many
Finally
times we've
got
been
Bob on.
asked.
When are you gonna get Bob?
When you guys going to get Bob? It's like, well, it's not up to us.
As soon as we can is the answer. we don't badmouth anybody or anything else. So, yeah, awesome. Bob's the man. People are into Bob, man.
I'm here.
He's here. It's awesome.
How about that?
Oh man. All right. Well, with that, let's make sure that we utilize all the time we have, and let me go ahead and bring up our sound. Sherwin, you ready to start?
Yes, I am.
Bob, are you ready to start?
I am.
Bob, tell me if you hear this sound right here. I'm not going to start the show yet, but I would like to know if you can hear this starting now. You hear anything?
I don't hear anything.
Okay. Well, in that case, we're going to go silent for probably 30 or 40 seconds, and you'll hear us hooting and hollering and going crazy, and you'll know it's us. So hang in there.
Sounds great.
Hang in there with us, and we'll be back to you in just a second. And with that, we're recording now. Welcome, y'all! That's right. This is the Pregame Engineer Tailgate Mayor Racing Podcast, episode number 191. It's Wednesday, April 17, 2019. I'm Tailgate Mayor Rusty Wallace. I'm in the PTM Podcast Studio with Pregame Engineer Andrew Sherwin. What's up, dude?
That's
too excited.
That might be the first time you've ever screwed that part of it up.
That's true. We'll see if we
so we've got a guest tonight that we've been trying to get forever.
And the posse has put him in high demand.
High demand.
Super excited.
Perhaps it was a challenge before, but we made it happen this time.
That's right. So before we do, y'all know what the deal is. This podcast is sponsored by you. That's right. You go to patreon.com/PETM. Join the What You Drink Club for as little as $1 a month to get that free koozie. Best part is, every cent in 2019, we're donating to sponsoring drivers. So join the PTM Plus today. Be a part of the sport you love. We got some microphone stuff going on there. You just hear it squeak, so it's all good. This week's show brought to you by our official sponsors at the $5 and up per month level. Those are Laura Henshaw, Aaron Bearden, Robert Kevlinger, Coleman Clam, Eric Kevner, Ryan Keeper, Patrick Berry, Jeff Brown, Brandon Crowd, Kathleen McDonald, Stacey Wright, Brandon Carl, Ricky Porter, John Bob and Les Miller, Tommy Witt, Julie Bosley, John Pearson, Eddie Greer III, Younker Motorsports, David Mullins, Patrick Johnson, Brett Morris, Gail Delaney, and Crystal Smoke. Phew.
One of the coolest names in all of names.
Right? I think MOATF, I heard earlier this week.
Somebody mentioned her.
Yeah. She's in that, whatever you call it, fantasy league.
Oh, yeah, the Live Traffic Fantasy League.
They were doing all that.
Yeah.
Sherwin, it is time to bring on our guest. On paper, he's a NASCAR reporter for Fox Sports. But, dude, in reality, y'all know him. He's the NASCAR guru. Legend has it, Sherwin, that other media outlets confirm their stories with Bob before publishing themselves. There's a Twitter hashtag for "I beat Bob to the track," and several
For good reason.
several unnamed, and maybe later on we'll name them, crew chiefs have asked Bob, "Hey, what's the rule around blah blah?" They're holding two different parts, going, "What am I allowed to use?" And Bob comes back. So y'all know who he is. Find him on Twitter at Bob Pockrass. Welcome to the show, Bob Pockrass. Bob, what's happening, man?
I'm doing great. Yeah, it was funny. Remember when Chris Buescher won the fog race back in the day at Pocono?
Yes.
The director of competition at Front Row Motorsports came up to me and was like, "Have we won yet?" And I was like, "Not yet." So, yeah, people know I listen to the NASCAR radio pretty frequently, and I have my NASCAR rulebook app handily available if need be.
Yeah, Bob's our resident student reporter. He's always learning,
Or a professor?
which is
of the-
I mean, I would say nerd because we're nerds too in our.
I
own-
prefer Wonk.
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 I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know that.
Isn't
one.
Wonk a more
Well, I don't know that I'm
nicer
a-
name than a nerd?
Okay, yeah. Well, people don't like that word, especially in NASCAR, where we tend to be a bunch of rednecks. But wonk. Okay, we'll switch to wonk. I think I'm wonk in a couple different spaces. I don't know about this one, but
Yeah, I'm wonky. I know that. Bob, we start this show off the same way every time. What are you drinking on tonight?
I'm just drinking water tonight because I had to be on my best behavior for you guys, or not maybe not my best behavior, but at least wanted to remember what I said.
That's more respect than we deserve.
right. I mean, this coming
Well, it's
from the
not
guy.
really about you guys; it's about me, and job security. I got to know what I say.
Oh yeah. Well, we certainly wouldn't want you to get in trouble.
Oh, you're with Fox now, dude.
Your employer, but your
get to say
new
whatever you
employer is a little bit wilder.
Yeah.
I think that lets you kind of
CJ
stretch the gaps a little bit.
If CJ Walliver can sing karaoke with us, Bob Pockrass can.
We may just got him in trouble. We don't.
Well, CJ probably has a better karaoke voice than me.
He actually is real good at it.
surprising.
Like no kidding, real good.
I shouldn't
at
say
it.
surprising. You just don't expect it, I guess.
Yeah, he's good.
In my family, we dreaded birthdays because that meant everybody in the family was singing "Happy Birthday" to you, and it was like, man, the best birthday gift would be if nobody sang "Happy Birthday."
Well,
we need a new song.
I don't even know
think.
what to say.
Yeah, right. You know what? We just always yelled it really loud so that we didn't have nobody's even trying at that point.
If you just holler, then you don't really have to carry a tune.
So Sherwin, I'm dreading this moment.
Uh-oh.
Because there was a stipulation. Bob, his
God.
previous engagement had issues with or whatever. I'm sugarcoating all this
He
stuff.
dared
trying
us to do something.
step around the line and stuff. But finally, Bob was able to come on the show, and he said, and we were talking to him in Atlanta. At Atlanta Motor Speedway, and he said, "I'll come on the show, but on one stipulation." And I asked him in the pre-show if he remembered what that was, and we didn't even say what it was in the pre-show. So, Bob, why don't you tell the folks?
Okay, so if most people who follow me on Instagram know I eat a fairly plant-based diet. I'll eat a little fish here and there, but mostly as close to a vegan diet as possible. And you guys dissed on.
We lost.
Oh, we lost him. That's so funny.
Go figure.
Your diet sucks, Bob.
vegan stuff.
There
of
it
all
is.
the
There
fake
he is.
stuff.
He's back. Hey, Bob, we lost you
Sausage
for about
stuff.
we lost you for about 10 seconds there. So,
All right.
we know that you or you said that you eat mostly a plant-based diet, and continue from there.
Yeah, so or you guys probably cut me off on purpose.
Well, we were.
So anyway, and sausages. So you guys tweeted, or one of you guys tweeted that you'd rather eat a turd than a Beyond Meat sausage, and I was like, you guys should at least try it. And I assumed that you hadn't. Maybe you had, but I'd assumed you hadn't. And I said, I'll come on your show if you guys eat a Beyond Meat sausage, or one of you eat a Beyond Meat sausage and film it and put it on. Just because I think, hey, sausage is like, of all the fake meats, that's like the easiest to replicate because it's all texture and spices anyway.
So I agree with you on that part, and I have.
That's a good
I
point.
have had meatless sausage before. So what happened, Bob,
what had happened was
Bob had walked up to me after talking with Sherwin. He said, all right, I already told Sherwin I'll be on your show, but you dissed on the meatless burger stuff. And I said, yeah, that was probably Sherwin. And he goes, you said it tasted, you'd rather eat a turd. And I was like, ooh, that was probably me.
and that was funny because you admitted it after I said, Bob, I'm pretty sure that was right.
Yeah, I immediately blamed
I threw
Sherwin.
your ass up under the bus.
Yeah, immediately blamed Sherwin. And then when he said, yeah, you'd rather eat a turd, I was like, ooh, that's a Rusty kind of quote right there. So yeah, I'll go ahead and suck that one up. But Bob, here's what we did. We're opening up right now. Earlier today, Sherwin, I made some homemade biscuits, Southern style buttermilk biscuits.
I walked in the door and I said, do you make cornbread? And he goes, no, I made biscuits. And I never put it together till now.
In between that biscuit, and we're
So
both
your
opening it
cornbread
up.
smells like biscuits?
What's that?
Your cornbread smells like biscuits, or your biscuits smell like
Well,
cornbread?
it's all buttermilk and some sort of thing there.
Very similar.
So in between this biscuit, y'all, I'll hold it up for you, is a meatless Beyond Meat sausage patty that I also cooked up.
we
owe Bob a
the
big
courtesy.
a big old bite of it. So here goes nothing. 3, 2, 1. And we didn't.
That was a big bite.
Yeah, we didn't go modest on the bite. We probably should have done this separate, so as not to have these pauses.
Actually, this tastes pretty good.
Bob, that ain't half bad.
No, I mean, it's certainly better than a turd. I assume it's actually, I should say, I assume that it's better than a
definitely
turd
tastes like
because
sausage.
I've never
I will
eaten a
give you that
turd.
all
But,
day long.
I figured I should at least, way to kind of promote
I'll finish that.
that a little bit and be on your show.
I'll
I'm
eat
glad
it,
you
yeah,
guys
man.
tried it.
That's actually good.
I'm not gonna
The
lie.
hamburger we had at Leilani's deal at Talladega, though, that thing sucked.
Yeah, the burger needs some work. The sausage, they have nailed y'all. That's impressive.
Well, yeah. I mean, and it should be easy to nail, right? Because, again, it's all texture and spices.
Yeah. If you wouldn't have told me, or if you'd have told me that was meat, or just wouldn't have told me nothing and said sausage biscuit, I'd probably go, okay. I mean, it's not
If
gourmet.
Bojangles handed one of these to me when I ordered a sausage biscuit, I wouldn't know the difference. This is for real.
Yeah, this is for real. And I've heard people say that about that meatless burger, and I have
They were
called
wrong.
almighty BS on that one now.
Yeah, that
But-
thing sucked. The other thing that sucked was they had all these gigantic males that were jacked.
Yeah.
Sitting around if you don't
Yeah.
eat real protein, you can't look like that. So you're a liar.
Well, I'm having another bite.
Rusty's chewing.
Yep.
I'm fixing to have another bite, too. So, all right, Bob. I think we fulfilled our end of the bet here.
So yeah. Thanks for being on. We'll talk to you next time. Have a good day. Oh man. So
We'll see you at Talladega.
Bob, what are you working on right now? What's the next big story coming up?
Well, I mean, I think a couple of things. First off, you've got Talladega coming up, and NASCAR's toyed with the aero package because now there won't be a restrictor plate in addition to the spacer, so they're going with pretty much the same aero package they used at Texas, except they had to raise the spoiler, in hopes of slowing the cars down because they did a test at Daytona the day after the Daytona 500 with 3 drivers, and they were reaching close to 200 miles an hour. So the question is are they going to be going, and the drivers don't mind going faster, but I think NASCAR's insurance company doesn't want them to go much over 200. So I think the question is how fast are they going to go? And if they go faster, can NASCAR change the tapered spacer, which really messes with the engine a lot more, according to the engine builders, or will they try a bunch of different wicker bills or something to slow them down? So that's kind of what I'm looking at. Of course, the All-Star rules were announced today. A couple of changes there, nothing huge. Although the radiator ducts are going to come up through the hood instead of going through the engine, in hopes of kind of maybe it'll look a little bit more like a muscle car and hopefully cool the engine a little bit, eat better. But beyond that, the NFL schedule came out today. I thought it was interesting that they're the only track that has a race in an NFL market where also the NFL team plays at home is Miami. The championship at Homestead is up against the Dolphins. But remember, last year Indy was up against the Colts. This year the Colts are away. The Panthers are away when Charlotte's in town, when the Charlotte race is. The Cardinals are away when Arizona plays, and I think the Chiefs play like Thursday night of Kansas week, and the Cowboys play Monday night of Texas week. So NASCAR really got a good deal there with the NFL schedule.
Yeah. Y'all, that's what we were talking about at the top of the show when I was giving all these like superlatives about Bob. Who else has gone in and cross-referenced all the NASCAR races with the NFL schedule? That's really cool.
Well, it's NASCAR's wonk.
NASCAR's wonk.
I won't tell you how many times I refreshed the NFL.com waiting for the schedule to come out so I could check it.
Sure.
Awesome.
I think it's worth taking a couple 20 seconds to talk about what you said about whether changing the spacer at Talladega is going to impact teams from an engine construction perspective. Is they build it based on a certain harmonic. So if NASCAR adds a spacer, they're going to have to change all the springs.
Well, they have the spacer in there, and we know it wasn't rare for NASCAR to change the restrictor plate on the race weekend, right? If they felt like they were going too fast, but to change that spacer apparently is a much bigger concern to the engine builders than it would be if they were changing a restrictor plate. And really what a spacer is just kind of a thicker restrictor plate, and the holes taper compared to, the spacer's kind of an aluminum piece that's machined rather than a metal disc has holes punched in it, but it apparently reacts very differently. So now I will say this, NASCAR isn't telling the teams what their plan is if they have to slow them down. And I think part of that is to keep them from trying to science everything out before the race weekend, right? They don't want teams spending so much time on potential changes that either one team gets a jump or that they just end up wasting their time anyway.
Yeah. Well, I think that spacer that they're going to use this year and have been using this year has a greater chance of creating a cyclonic flow of air, which would be much more efficient than just a straight-up flat plate spacer that's going to be very disruptive. I think that's the issue. And then we're talking about we've added somewhere around 100 and 125 horsepower. Nobody really knows outside of the teams that are actually building the engines. It's going to be a different thing. We're going to see a different thing maybe.
I was going to comment that they've only got a week and 2 days to figure this thing out. But I guess
I think they got it figured. Well, I think they have an idea of what they want to do, but they just aren't going to. They're just not going to let the teams know because, again, that just would favor the bigger teams that could spend more time in simulation or run to the wind tunnel to try to figure, okay, should we run 10 different wicker bills on the rear spoiler to see what, or on the roof to see if we can figure out what any changes NASCAR makes, how it will impact the car.
Bob always brings the level-headed response there because I was ready to pitchfork mafia this thing, run out there. Hey, what are y'all doing? Y'all even know what's going on? But but you're partly right. I mean, I keep that pitchfork a little bit in the sense of it's so hard to tell. Is NASCAR going to be? Is it NASCAR being prudent, or are they being arrogant, right? Because you would look at the way the qualifying is and be like, well, everybody told them qualifying was going to be this way at the intermediate tracks, and they still kind of maybe officiate with their heart a little bit more than they did with their mind. And the question is, are they doing the same here?
Yeah. Well, I'm not banging mine on the concrete or the asphalt, but I'm sharpening the tines. You know what I mean? I'm working them down.
Well, let's go ahead and get to the report card. It's time to tear it down, y'all. First period, let's talk about Richmond. You know what? I need to cue up another sound already because Sherwin, last week, Todd Bodine on the podcast, who did he say would win that race?
I think he said Truex was going to win.
Truex, with an exclamation point. He was into it.
He was confident.
So here it is for Todd Bodine, the PTM horn.
Winner.
Oh, man.
Winner. winter chicken dinner.
That sound right there is the highest honor that you can get.
Is that already 3 horns this year?
That might be 3 horns this year. That's crazy. That might outdo last year's pace already. But let's talk about Richmond for a bit. Truex, first short track win. Bob, I mean, how crazy was that, and how, I don't know, what's the inside scoop that you got
Kyle Busch with the speeding penalty.
Well, there's that too. What's your takeaway?
Penalty, Denny Hamlin had to start in the back. I mean, look, when you look, how many laps did Truex lead in the last 5 or 6 races? I mean, hundreds, right, at Richmond. So it wasn't a huge surprise that he won. And for all those people who think, well, Joey Logano was kind to him or Joey Logano's changed because he hasn't wrecked him, I'm pretty skeptical at that. I think Joey Logano just couldn't get to him. I mean, he wasn't going to, Logano at Martinsville didn't wreck Truex in the sense of putting him out of the race. Truex still finished 3rd in that race. And I don't think Logano just couldn't get to him to where he could make a similar move as he did at Martinsville. Because if he could have, he would have.
Yeah, well, I've maintained since we saw that race last fall that if Truex doesn't lose his mind and plant his foot in the gas pedal, he probably still could have won that race. I think one of the things that's cool about this is I agree with you, Bob. I don't think Joey could get there without wrecking him, and I don't think Joey had any interest in wrecking him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, Joey certainly already had a win, and there wasn't as much on the line as there was at Martinsville. But I don't think Joey thinks that way. I think he'd go for the win if he could do a bump and run where Martin would finish 2nd or 3rd, and I don't think that opportunity was there. And I mean, you look at that race, and Martin drove a great race, and Martin talked about how once he got behind lap cars, he was fighting the same thing as the cars behind him. As far as that spoiler making a big wake and his car feeling, he said it was racing like it was on bologna skins. Now, I have no clue what that, I mean,
so
does he think it meant banana skin? I mean, I guess you could say bologna.
No, so here's what what we had to talk about is, all right, some weird people used to buy that bologna that had that red skin on the outside.
Oh, that was my family.
Okay.
But if you bought Oscar Mayer bologna, then that red skin wasn't there. So right. I'm just saying.
We bought the poor people stuff.
No, we did too. But we didn't buy the red skin stuff. My mom's mom did.
Yeah.
Red skin stuff at my mama's house.
You ever tried to eat one? Because you were little and you're like, do I eat the skin? Yeah, that thing gets
I didn't know
up.
that it, skin was a thing. So I damn sure have had that in my mouth before and going, what the hell is this?
Became dental
It's
floss.
a trash bag is what it is.
Oh, man. Well, we already talked about it a little bit. Second period, all-star format being announced just a few hours ago. We talked about what's new. Bob, does this preview kind of some stuff for next year? We know the all-star race where they like to kind of
preview stuff for 2021 in the Gen 7 car.
Okay.
As again having that radiator outlet coming out the hood, and then they're going to go with a front splitter that is one-piece carbon fiber that doubles as a pan underneath the front end of the car. So it's 2 things that they're kind of looking at for the Gen 7 car. And then they've added 5 laps to the final segment. So it's going to be an 85-lap race, 30, 20, 20, and 15. So not huge changes, but again, using a couple of things that they want to look at for that Gen 7 car that they hope to debut in 2021. We'll see how it goes. They hope that it makes a difference. I'll be interested to see. You still have a front splitter, and I'm sure there's a lot of your fans and feel like the front splitter needs to go. And I've often said, it can't be as easy as taking off a front splitter, cutting off some side skirts, and having tires that wear. Or at least I hope it's not that easy, because if it is, NASCAR's spending a lot of time and money looking at other things.
Yeah, well, so how are we going to change a steel pan that's designed to take a pretty significant impact for the oil pan. How are we going to turn that into carbon fiber if we don't create a lot of travel, I guess is what I'm saying. So they're obviously going to have to create some serious travel. They're going to have to open the shock package up. They're going to have to open the spring package up. You're going to have to be able to move that car up and down based on the way the driver wants to drive it. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense to do it.
Well, and I think maybe that's the hope, that it allows more flexibility for the teams to create a setup and to tailor it to their driver, right? And maybe it's easy. The question is, would it be easier? Does it take less wind tunnel time or less simulation time and more driver feel and at track adjustments that you can make to have a bigger effect?
Well, if they have the effect that I think they want a significant number of us fans to be impressed with, Jimmy Johnson's going to start winning again.
Bob, everybody, it feels like, that I talk to and that we talk to, they all have some fun or crazy or stupid but crazy ideas about what would you do with the All-Star race. So we want to know what Bob Pockrass would do with the All-Star race.
Well, I kind of liked it when they eliminated people during a race. They've done that before, and I kind of like that. I may kind of would like to see that again. I wouldn't mind that at all. But as far as crazy stuff,
you don't want to see Stone Cold Steve Austin or whoever it was opening the envelopes with the whatever it was. What was it? The wrestler that was with him in the booth, and they're opening envelopes to figure out what the next
Goldberg, wasn't it?
Goldberg, maybe.
I mean, part of me agrees with some of the people who think you should have a certain number of safety requirements and then just open it up and you do whatever you want and spend as much money as you want to win this $1 million, and don't have many rules.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's possible from a safety standpoint, but if it is, I wouldn't mind seeing it.
The T-Rex, the rear mounted, the aft mounted shocks behind the axle that Ray Evernham figured out, and they said, "Don't ever do that again."
Yeah, don't even bring. They said don't do that again, and so he couldn't even. I mean, that car never. He couldn't even redo that car, right? He just that car had to become a showroom car because it's changed so much that you couldn't even change it, or it was.
You couldn't fix it because of the way they counterbalanced the weight. It just wasn't gonna be a thing.
Sherwin's talking.
Anything that can make that, it's such a difficult thing since NASCAR is an all-star race every week, right? And since everybody participates, so how do you differentiate
That's a great,
the all-star event? And it used to be the $1 million, but how much of a difference does that make to teams anymore? So
or to fans?
I don't mind trying things and mixing things up a little bit. It'd be great if you could have a bunch of It'd be great if everybody brought cars and then drivers just pulled slots. And, if Kyle Busch picked the 48 number, he gets to drive the 48. Something like that would be crazy, right?
That would be hilarious.
If you really want something crazy, that would be fun to see. But in this world of, you couldn't drive a Chevrolet, it probably never happen.
Oh, yeah.
Why not race a 4-cylinder street stock at Bowman Gray?
Yeah, why
how freaking cool was that? Would that be?
Do something crazy.
Just go completely off the map.
We got like home run derby and slam dunk contest and the other all-star stuff. Just
we do weird things. Now, so I will say this, Bob, and I don't know where you're at on this as a journalist, but the absolute coolest thing that we do in all of NASCAR, without a doubt, is qualifying for the All-Star race. That no limits, everybody's off pit road, hit it as hard as you can hit it.
Yeah.
That is so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. I don't know if it's the coolest, but it's certainly one of the neat things to see. And some people were asking me tonight, "Hey, can you do that every week?" You could. It would make the qualifying show pretty long at some tracks. But the thing would be, do teams really want to bring in their pit crew members a day or 2 days early?
Yeah, it would be too expensive to do every week. I don't think we should do it every week. I'm just saying that's one of the things that should stay in the All-Star race. I don't care if we take it to South Boston or if we take it to Bowman Gray or whatever. If we take it to Bowman Gray, you're not going to have pits anyway, so it's not a thing. But like, if we're going to keep it at Charlotte, they have to keep that piece of the puzzle in the equation.
So let's move to third period here. Jimmy Johnson running the Boston Marathon. Dude, 3 hours, 9 minutes in the 48-48 bib, which I thought was, pretty
Which was
cool.
random, by the way. He didn't.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, they let him. They let him. Which I think, Bob, you posted on Twitter. That's an 8.24 mile per hour average. Now, last time I ran in a 5K. Now Jimmy. He did a 42K, so that's a little more.
Slightly longer, just a little bit
think
longer.
He did 8.24 miles an hour. I believe I averaged 6.1, like barely a jog. And here he is outrunning me like that for that long. And not only that, Chris Maroche, I don't know his last name. But
6.1, that's a hell of a lot faster than 8.24.
Oh, no, miles per hour.
Oh, miles per hour.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I was way slower. Yeah, that's
my bad.
10.5 mile versus.
I misheard you.
Yeah, versus maybe what's 8.24? That's like a 7 something. Jeez.
Yeah, he was in the
7:10, I believe it was.
7:10. Good grief. And his from the Hendrick engine department, Chris Maroche ran alongside Jimmy. Apparently, most of the race they didn't see each other necessarily, but ran right alongside him. 3 hours 7 minutes, like 2 minutes faster than Jimmy.
That's
what are
really good.
What's in the water over at Hendrick Motorsports, Bob?
Well, I mean, those
Competitiveness.
guys, they're beasts, man. They I did a half marathon about 5 years ago, the morning of Darlington.
I remember.
I finished it in 2 hours and 20 minutes. So,
Congrats. That's awesome.
Just a little bit slower than what those guys are running. Look, those guys. Jimmy's just an incredible athlete, and he has incredible focus and is able to push himself. And just like, he made it look, if you watch him, it barely looks like he's sweating. He looks. He talks about being the most challenging thing he ever did, and he still made it look easy almost, right? It didn't look like he was struggling, and right. I think that's kind of the way that's the way he won all his championships. He made it. In some ways, he did it too good, right? You kind of wish maybe he knocked some people out of the way, roughed some people up more. People maybe, but
instead of just beating everybody's ass,
so good he could pass him cleanly and didn't need to do it. And I think this is the same. He gets his mind. He talked to. I was like, why are you keeping this 3 hour goal when you've had calf injuries and he had some tendon issues and he got sick and he really didn't hit all his training goals as far as like how he wanted to train, and he was like, I couldn't get my ass out of bed before at 5:30 in the morning if I wasn't trying to hit 3 hours. He said if I was trying to hit 4 hours, there's no way I'd ever even get up and go run. So that's just kind of his mentality, and he's an incredible athlete, and a lot of those guys, it takes incredible focus to drive a race car, and if they put their focus on something else, they're tough to beat. Jimmy McMurray ran I think the marathon in Hawaii in like 3 hours 14 minutes or something like that. He did a lot of training for it, and these guys are goal oriented, focused people, and so they can, if they have it in them, they can usually bring it out.
So you're saying that he should have hip checked a few people and put them in the fence in the Boston Marathon just to get that edge.
Get a couple more finishing
or at least
positions.
make it look like that he was hurting a little bit.
Right. It's like, well, that's the hardest thing I've ever done. Well, try to lift this 400-pound rock. It'll look a little harder, at least to us. with him straining in the face or something. But yeah, with that
Yeah.
cool.
Well, I really enjoyed.
He must have forgotten some of those conversations with Chad because some of those things had to
Yeah.
be worse, right?
I saw some stuff on Twitter or elsewhere that was saying, well, did he pass post race? Is the question. And where's Chad in all this? Where's the he was messing with
Where's old Cheat at?
Yeah, messing with some shoes or messing with tires or something on this race. I love that.
He
stuff.
did talk about on Steve Letart's podcast. He talked about he had to use the shoes that he used because the ones that he wanted to use weren't well suited for his
Street
stride.
No,
they were street legal, but they weren't suited for his stride. It was kind of like, how much air do you need in your right rear as a driver in order for it to build up to speed? But I thought it was really cool that he did that and that it got a lot of attention. And I thought it was really uncool how many people were jackasses about it.
I mean, how can you be a jackass?
Well,
about
I mean,
it doesn't even make sense.
Everybody has an opinion, and and certainly there were some people say, hey, maybe you should be focusing on a race car. But he said that look. He usually does a lot of fitness stuff, whether it's swimming or biking or running, and he just focused on the running. And he said he didn't really spend a ton more time doing the running than he did his other fitness stuff. So he didn't really wasn't like it took up a whole lot more of his time than what he would have been doing anyway.
It wasn't a big change. I thought he made a comment on Twitter that I thought was excellent, and I'll finish this very quickly, Rusty.
Yeah.
Somebody was like, well, I hope you qualified for next year's. And he goes, yeah, my time did that for me.
Yeah. But he was real sensitive to that when I talked to him about it, because I had seen some of the criticism before. I mean, I talked to him Bristol weekend, and I had already seen some criticism. And, obviously Gatorade that sponsors him they sponsor the marathon, and they get a certain number of spots for their people, and he got one of those spots, and and some people are like, man, the regular Joe has to qualify for it, and Jimmy was like, I wish I had the time to qualify for a marathon, do another one. He's like, but I haven't had the time, so he's like, he's certainly not going to give up the opportunity, but I mean, the thing is that he felt like he did a lot of media. In order to try to promote, not that the marathon needs a whole lot of promotion, but maybe to promote it to people who maybe wouldn't have paid attention otherwise. And he felt like he did that in hopes of giving back a little bit because of the fact that he never had to run a qualifying time.
Well, winning 83 Cup races and 7 Cup championships, that should probably qualify you for a lot of things.
Do you think there's any elite runners who were saying, well, he got to qualify? No, it's all these fat dudes on the couch.
I would like every one of those people that were bitching about him qualifying for the race to sit in a passenger
let's get your
in the second seat of a stock car with Jimmy running it as fast as he can run it.
Or anything, man.
And see what it's like.
I'm a fat guy on a couch, and I'm saying it's very impressive, and I totally respect it.
Yeah,
so,
just these
are the fat people on the couch things. Whatever.
They say stuff. We have more important stuff to get to.
Let's start skipping ahead. We'll take a break after third period. What we always say, go under the bleachers and smoke some cigarettes or something.
Or other stuff.
Or the other stuff. Hit the bottle of booze, and we'll move on to some questions for Bob. Bob, we got one question from Todd Bodine at team_onion. He was on with us last week. We asked him give us a question for Bob. He said, and fellow Fox Sports, presenter / journalist, et cetera. And he said, he essentially said, how did you feel the first time you were on camera? Were you nervous that first time, or how did that go?
Well, at Fox, I was a little bit nervous. I think it's just a general reaction. You want to do a good job, and you're just not sure, especially your first time with any. I'd done a few sports centers when I was at ESPN and some other things, but I think whenever you don't really know all the producers and you don't know necessarily how things flow, it's just everything is so kind of new. So it was certainly a little bit maybe nervous, and but I think we're getting better at it.
Yeah, well, if you're not nervous, you don't care, which is a cool thing.
Yeah.
And Todd was like, I think he was a little wide-eyed. I wonder what'll happen next time.
As I joke, at age 50, doing a lot more TV, that really isn't a good career path, right? To start working in TV mostly at age 50, be like trying to start a NASCAR career at age 50. Say, hey, I think I'm gonna go try to become a Cup driver. It isn't really the normal path.
Oh, I don't know. Dale Jarrett did a pretty good job of
doing all right.
being 50 and becoming a TV guy.
Yeah, he's doing all right for himself.
Now, granted, he's got some history in the sport, obviously.
Yeah. Happy belated birthday, by the way. I mean, that's like 2 months on now, I think. But we'll
6 weeks.
When it's a big 5-0 thing, man. That's awesome. And
I'm still feeling the pain from the party, so yeah.
You know what? You got less gray hair than Rusty, and I think you have less gray hair than me. And we're both essentially the same age, but about 12 years younger than you. So
I wouldn't have put you at 5-0 for nothing. So it's a testament to the. Oh, by the way, we both finished our biscuits.
Biscuits were good, man.
Yeah, nothing wrong with those.
So Bob, do you have like Italian blood in you? How do you keep that dark black hair so long?
I don't know. It's I don't do anything. I'm not coloring it, so it'll go gray at some point. But I don't know. But I'm not complaining.
I've been wanting to dye my hair and not tell anybody. Just do it as a goof, and then people
freak out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I want to put the Just for Men in my beard.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
What the hell?
No, just like make it back to brown or whatever it was before. It's been so long I can't remember. But
see, I think Bob has he's got Sly Stallone's phone number.
Yeah.
Like, hey dude, who's your stylist?
On dial, yeah.
I need that jet black.
Oh, Mick Rose, that Go Ducks 40.
Yeah, whenever I go get cut, they say, how short do you want it? And I say, it's like a chia pet, man. You can't really cut it all that. Don't cut it too short. It's just going to grow back.
Man. Mick Rose at Go Ducks 42_Mick says, other than Iowa and Fairgrounds, what other short tracks could meet the requirements to have a Cup race in 2021? You know what, Bob? I'm very interested in your answer here.
That's a great question.
It's such an
IRP
expense.
could, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they've had Busch races or Xfinity races before. Milwaukee Mile maybe could, but I don't know that that's really in
the comeback.
Whether it would need to have a comeback, and then Rockingham, if that gets fixed up enough, it's certainly
that needs some investment.
Certainly shot. So there are some there. We'll see. We'll see what NASCAR does. I'd like to see them add a couple of new venues, but I'd also like the venues to be kind of well prepared and have the ability to host. When you talk about Iowa, I've talked to people from Iowa. I haven't been there, so I'm gonna have to rely on them. But they say, it felt like for a Cup weekend, you would need more roads or more lanes going in and out of the track. So I wouldn't want to. I'd really wish that NASCAR had added some places that they were looking to go for in 2021 as far as the Cup side to the Xfinity and truck schedules, just to see if they can kind of handle the load, for lack of a better term.
That's a perfect response. I totally agree, because we found out the hard way with Kentucky that, man, if you don't prepare, it can be a really messy opportunity.
Yeah, with that first one.
I think Iowa's probably prepared from a safety perspective. I think Gateway is probably prepared from a safety perspective. I don't know that Cup would ever go there or not. I think Fairgrounds is going to require a significant investment. SMI has already basically said they're prepared to do that. We don't know a timeline for it. But I'm curious to know, Bob, what you think about the Tennessee legislation and the Nashville legislation around, we don't want loud things like NASCAR races.
Well, and I saw, I think it was I saw Dave Moody tweet, how crazy is it that people who live near a racetrack complain about the noise, but then again, this is an industry where the schedule hasn't changed in years, and people complain about the length of the schedule, right?
I live 1 mile.
I guess it just depends upon your perspective, right? I think Nashville's going to be tough. I think there's a lot, the MLS stadium and that residential area that mixed use area that they've proposed is pretty much approved. Or I think it is approved, and and it's going to require some changes. I think if NASCAR or if SMI and the Formosas, the promoters there, want to get done what they want to get done, NASCAR or SMI is going to have to work a deal where the tax revenue that they generate would end up paying off the costs for the improvements, which while has a better chance of getting through than just using tax dollars, it's not easy in this political climate to get done. So there's some challenges ahead for them to get that done in Nashville, and it's as I say, it's going to be a challenge because you've got to convince the local community, you've got to have to convince the fairground board, and you're going to have to convince the city council, and that's going to take a lot of convincing.
Well, I live 1 mile from the second busiest airport in Georgia, and there's people outside, screaming at clouds and airplanes every time they go over. So people gonna complain, I guess, about noise regardless. Well,
let's run it in the damn daytime. Hell.
Yeah. Who knows? I'll say this. I've got two on my mind. One is Mexico City, dare I say.
The problem there is,
I know the problems. I'm just saying.
It's getting the visas. That's the biggest problem. And then if it rains out and everybody has to go home because their visa is expired,
right.
That's the reason why Canada is such a problem.
Yeah, and funny enough, the other one that I was
you could say run in the rain. I mean, you bring rain tires. Look, the Xfinity Series had successful events in both Mexico City and Montreal, and I wouldn't be against either of them. If I'm in NASCAR shoes, I want to go to places that generate excitement in areas that already have maybe a passion for NASCAR, and that's kind of why I say Milwaukee or IRP, or I guess you could debate.
Dude, you could say IRP
or not
for like 15 minutes, and everybody in the world that knows NASCAR would agree with you. Mm-hmm. You could say it like you could just say IRP, like just keep saying it, and like I don't understand at all why we're running Xfinity races on the big, the big rectangle.
It's simple. It's because as much as NASCAR fans would say IRP, sponsors see Indianapolis Motor Speedway and see the ability to entertain sponsors, and the teams will say that it's easier to sell a sponsorship to race at Indianapolis Motor Speedway than at IRP, and that might seem like a shame, but that's the way it is.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. So let's go to the next thing.
Yeah, we'll get one more question for you, Bob, and we'll let you roll. William Soke at William Soquet. You gave us one, but I'm wondering if there's a different one or a better one. One of the best stories that you have about someone in the garage asking you for a clarification on an obscure rule or an interaction that you've had like that. So the fog race was the have we won it yet? No, not yet. But what's something similar or the best one you've had?
I'm trying to think.
It's probably penalty related with practice or something.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. I mean, I've had like wives tweet, are we locked into the? I think it comes to like, are we locked into the next round, like during a race? If on those elimination races, if you get staged, do you have enough stage points to lock in? I think at least one of the wives would tweet or something and say, hey, Bob, are we locked in yet? I would say that's kind of the
yeah.
thing. We don't know if we're locked in until I tweet about it, I guess.
There it is. He's the
Sherry Pollux or
I don't think she had to worry for
it was Sherry or Samantha or something. One of them, I believe, but I can't remember exactly.
Yeah. Bob, what are you doing for Easter? You got any Easter plans? Are you gonna put down NASCAR for 4 days, or is Pigs gonna fly?
I'm gonna try to just relax, and people always ask, what do you do on vacation? I said, I go to sleep and I go to the mall, right? Things I don't get to do all that often during the year. So just gonna take it easy. Obviously, no NASCAR to watch, but just try and recharge a little bit.
So we got to let you out on this one. Give us you're gonna be at Talladega, right?
I'll be at Talladega.
All right.
Yes.
We will see you there at the Tweet Up, where we'll have I don't know, beer for you.
Oh, I was going to say, so everybody, whether or not they remember or not, we of course have plenty of new followers, but it was you that when I walked up to the Tweet Up about halfway in, I think it was damn near trying to be over, and you saw my More Short Tracks T-shirt, and you're like, "That's awesome! You got to take a picture with Brent."
Yeah,
and we made all that happen.
Oh yeah, so. With the NASCAR president at the time. Yep. We were like, he's the one who was heading up a lot of the schedule stuff, so we wanted to get a photo.
Yeah,
wearing the More Short Track shirt at the longest.
Oh, and I also had like the biggest beard I've ever had.
Oh yeah,
too.
Yeah, that thing was killer. So Bob, man,
well, not surprised that you didn't shave during Talladega weekend. You were probably busy doing other things.
Well, we were doing some other things. Ain't no doubt about other things going on. Bob, we'll let you roll, man. We're over our curfew already with you, but it's the most fun that we've had in a long time, and we just love doing this thing. Love having you on. Love you, man. We really appreciate you being on.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on, and appreciate you being good sports about the fake sausage, and just love.
That actually didn't suck at all,
dude. I've got like 2 or 3 more downstairs. There's some extra biscuits and sausage. I'm gonna make me a sausage biscuit in the morning.
Bob, we will see you. At worst case scenario, we will see you Sunday morning, 9 o'clock, 9:30 Central,
something like that, at Talladega.
Have yourself
great.
Fantastic Easter, and we will be doing Talladega the way we do racing, which means we're not.
We're going as fans, not as media.
I had spoken with Talladega, and I said I would have requested media passes, but I said I don't think we can do that. I don't think we can behave at Talladega.
No, impossible.
So we're going to misbehave.
It's always important to know your limits.
That's exactly right. Exactly right. Bob, thanks a lot, man. We'll talk to you soon. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
See ya. Bob Pockrass, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, what a dude.
As much fun as I had hoped it would be.
You could see it in his eyes like 3 years ago when we asked him to be on. He's like, I'd love to, but we have rules.
Yeah.
And now he's got less rules.
Well, that, or he made it up and he didn't want to be on the show.
Well, he is an introvert.
Now that he's at Fox, we're like, well, we've talked to all these other Fox people. Surely you're not restricted. No, I'm not.
No,
I don't actually mean that.
Hey, speaking of that, not to just overblow because we still got some stuff we need to go through. Yeah. But speaking of Fox, Caitlin Vincey gave us the thumbs up.
Yeah.
So May, y'all. May's gonna be a fun month.
If April hadn't already been.
And y'all suggest us and tag IndyCar drivers for May since I'm going to Indy.
Oh yeah.
It would be awesome to have an IndyCar driver, and if they're not more available than NASCAR people. They're basically the same. Like, they're super available.
I mean, we'll probably talk about this in the after show because we get all excited. But how about the fact that we just had Todd Bodine ask a question to Bob Pockrass via PTM podcast? That's
so. What I'd be curious to know what a NASCAR fan that listens to this stuff that we talk about, what they would say about that. What do they think? Like, what do they think that is?
They probably think that we have more connections than we do.
Almost 100%.
We don't have a clue what we're
Hashtag
doing
100%. Everybody have a drink.
Yeah, I'll drink to that. That sausage biscuit, man, that wasn't bad at all.
It was good.
Right?
I mean, if you'd have never told me, I'd have never known.
Yeah. If you'd have never told me that burger wasn't meatless, I would have thrown it in the trash still.
It sucked.
But
it is what it is.
Anyway.
Hey, we had Leilani Munner on the podcast. We supported her as best we could.
I still support her, yeah.
She was very responsive to us, and we love what her message is.
Well, here's the thing. They're on like version 2.0 right now. I believe maybe once they get to version like 8.0, they'll have something palatable for meat eaters, and I'll be happy to do it. And I will try version 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll keep trying it because I want to give them that feedback. I'm supportive of this all. I'm supportive of people.
Well, the only thing that made it weird to me is all those dudes that were completely jacked, and I'm like, that takes protein.
You can get protein shakes, I guess. I don't know. Anyway. Let's continue a little bit. Let's talk about the standings in the top 16 right quick. Fourth period as we come back from our smoke break under the bleachers.
We have come back from our smoke break. We are, I don't know what condition we are. Maybe we're just like we had a cup of coffee.
I thought that I was onto something really Bob Pockrassy, if I can use that as an adverb or adjective or whatever it is here. I thought that I was onto something intriguing.
Well, I think if you'd have included wins in here, it would get real crazy. But you may be wanting to talk
in the top 16. Let's not talk playoffs yet, but we were talking
playoffs.
Top 16 is kind of what we look at nowadays. You've got 3 Toyotas and 4 Chevys, and I thought that was kind of a interesting thing considering how crappy that Chevy's been.
They're hovering.
How awesome that Toyota's been.
I think they're crappy in a sense
how much better.
They're running like between 8th and 12th, but not leading laps a whole lot.
Right. And Ford has 9, which I don't think is anybody's surprise that Ford, we knew this in the preseason.
All of Penske, all of Stewart-Haas, and one Menard. I think he's the other one, right?
But go in and look at the number of cars that are entered. Toyota has 3 in the top 16 out of 8 Toyotas in the series.
Mm-hmm.
Chevy has 4 more than Toyota in the top 16 out of 26 entries into the series. So,
yeah, but how many of theirs are junk cars?
Oh, like 16. But still, that means they have 10 and Toyota has 8.
Yeah, I think everybody would agree that Chevy has just still not got things figured out.
Mm-hmm. So, and Ford is,
the only Chevy car that's performing regularly is Kurt, and then maybe like 1.5 is Chase.
And I'm gonna throw this out there and kind of under my breath and kind of hold it. Austin Dillon ain't doing too bad.
You're not wrong.
You're
not wrong, Walter.
Chase is doing better.
And Jimmy, you're not even an asshole. You're actually right.
Jimmy's actually doing okay, too.
But he's the one running 8 to 12.
Yeah. And Austin is running
scoring points
20th or 11th or something.
He's scoring points. Yeah. He's not wrecking out of races.
Yeah.
And blowing motors and all that other crap.
So I thought I was onto something like poignant there, but I'm not sure that I was.
I don't know. I think it's an interesting conversation.
Interesting stat. Yep, interesting stat for sure. Let's go to recess. Dude, somebody was cutting onions in my house all day on Sunday when Tiger Woods won the Masters. And we knew it was kind of coming. I mean, all he had to do was get like bogey on this hole, and he played it super safe.
When
and got bogey without
hit that shot on 16,
holy moly!
I lost my mind as much as I could lose my mind while watching with a friend in public.
In public, okay.
And I was like, I looked at him dead in the eye, and I said, "Tiger just won the Masters."
Dude, I'm
like when it landed.
Goosebumps on goosebumps right now.
Like before he putted it, when he landed it, I go, Tiger just won the Masters.
I want to know some other folks because I know Andy over at MOATF. Like he's huge Tiger Woods.
He's very much into golf.
Yeah, yeah. And I think there is a generation of at least maybe 10 years, maybe more. Me and my dad were texting. I can show you the text from my dad. And my dad's a pretty superlative kind of person. Like he'll call ball game in the second inning when somebody like hits a home run to go up 1-0.
He's very like
he gets excited.
He's momentarily reactive a lot.
You know what it is? He's very willing to take the downslope so that he can he loves the upslope so much that he's willing to take the downslope.
Oh yeah.
So we're sitting in. We had season tickets.
He's Chevy Chase in Christmas Vacation.
Oh my gosh!
Spray down that little saucer deal and just.
Oh yeah.
Woo!
Yeah, we're at Braves games. Second inning, solo home run, ball game.
Like, hold on.
All right. Well, let's temper.
There's a solid 180 more pitches that are going to happen tonight. Right.
But he's so willing there to take down slow. But the text between me and him were just fantastic. I don't know how many. If you started watching golf 8 years ago, Sherwin, then
you wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know. But. Golly, I'm getting goosebumps every 10 seconds right now. Just thinking about in 97, I was 16 years old or whatever, or 15 years old or whatever. For the Nike ball, roll into the cup, Masters, insanity thing, right? And growing up as a golfer and as a fan and all that, man, I don't have that in almost any other sport. I hate to say it because we're on a NASCAR podcast, but.
We're going to talk about it, though. I'm sorry, y'all, but this is going to go on for about 10 more minutes, just so y'all know.
Holy, I don't know what to say other than to go through that, and then after Tiger had his problems and then had health and all that stuff, I haven't watched golf in not like I used to watch golf. I haven't watched golf in 5-6 years because it's all the same. Like I hate to qualify everybody to say that, but it's like there's another. It's all these
24-year-old white guy.
24-year-old white guys all going against each other. Where's Tiger at? What's Tiger doing? Oh, his back's still hurt. Oh, he
missed
his
like
car slammed by his
160 tournaments. Like didn't even play or whatever.
And for him to come back, I mean, oh my God, the excitement. I'm back into golf now. You know what I mean?
So the thing
I've been rambling forever, Sean.
Yeah, no, no worries. I'm not trying to cut you off. I think the thing that I want to purvey to the people that are listening to us to understand what our perspective is. My dad grabbed me by the arm in the spring of '96 and said, we don't have a soccer game today. We're going to watch this. Golf. And it was Tiger trying to win his second amateur in a row as a junior at Stanford, which had never been done. Nobody had ever won 2 in a row, much less as a junior. And he ended up going pro midsummer, basically just said F school, just like a lot of the football players do.
Sure.
Why wouldn't you if you're that good?
He's got money.
And
now
he's got a couple dollar bills. And so as a 15-year-old, I was enthralled, especially the fact that he was black. He's not just black, he's also Asian. So, you have this whole – I never thought about that perspective, just that, all right, there's not black golfers. I don't see any.
Vijay Singh.
Vijay's from Singapore. So
success. Yeah,
how are you
African American?
Yeah, however you manage that. But and I certainly don't. I don't want to label anybody something they don't want to be labeled. But he just was he went to Stanford. My dad's from San Francisco. His dad got a law degree from Berkeley. His mom got an English degree from Berkeley. But he's always supported Berkeley area and West Coast teams, so we were always involved. UCLA was my favorite team that wasn't Georgia Tech when UCLA won in 96 or 95, I think. So it was like, it was a huge deal in 97 for him to win. It was like, and I was
for me it
hooked.
Hooked. I think that was when did Happy Gilmore come out? That was 98 or so. Wasn't it Happy Gilmore? Or was that was that 96?
98?
96. It was 96.
96.
So he was as close to Happy Gilmore as you could get. He drove the ball 40 yards longer than anybody else at the time. Nobody was driving 320 yards in 96. Nobody was.
Within 3 years of Tiger winning 2 Masters, what was that, 97 and 99, I think, or 97 and 2000, the Masters lengthened their course by almost 1,000 yards.
Insane.
Because Tiger was the only guy that could do that.
Right. And then
now that he's only a 310-yard driver, he still beat everybody.
Right. But and so not only the huge drives, but you never saw anybody. I mean, you always go back and you look at it. That ball rolls in, and he does that fist thing and screams, and everybody else screams.
It's like
that's Happy Gilmore stuff, man. That's
it's
what everybody
Ric Flair. He is the Ric Flair of golf.
Yeah,
like,
in a good way.
Like Joe Rogan says,
awesome.
That man has an exuberant noise. Tiger has an exuberant, body language that made him just so enjoyable. And I don't care about any of the other stuff. Like, y'all, I mean, if you don't like them, that's because you're choosing to find the things that you don't like about a human. I like the competitor. The competitor is the only person that matters to me. Like, I mean, you can get, like, a lot of people that listen to us probably wouldn't like Ric Flair if they saw his personal life.
Well, I watched a YouTube video on him the other day, and he was talking about
his number is 5 digits.
Yes, exactly.
With a crooked number in the front.
That was the video I was watching.
So let's just chill out for a minute. These guys are exposed to things that we would never be exposed to in normal life. So let's throw that out. You just throw it out the window and go, what do I like about this competitor? What I like about this competitor is he did everything he possibly could to get his body back to a place where he could win the most important tournament in the world, and he did it.
Yeah.
And he's my flipping hero.
Dude, I'm back into golf again. Like, I mean, I was watching, like, the Masters, and I would watch, maybe the PGA, but I was only watching, like, 2 majors.
I was really only watching the Open. Like, I love
Bubba Watson a little bit.
I love the British.
He's from Georgia, but he went to UGA, who's our rival school. But
yeah,
I root for him.
I do like Bubba.
I like him.
He's a good old redneck from Jacksonville, Florida. You got to love that guy.
Yeah.
And he swings for the fences.
Well, that's the other thing. If Tiger was 340, Bubba's 360.
Yeah. Bubba. I watched Bubba hit a 430. It was downhill at Hawaii, and it's absurd. But, I mean, and Bubba's a likable dude. And his whole deal with his mom, holy crap.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to deal with that.
Well, let's close this out, Sherwin. The point of all
we have to pick
well, let's pick next week. Who did Bob pick?
No, we don't. We didn't. I don't think we asked Bob to pick.
Did we not ask Bob pick?
No, we didn't.
Dadgummit. We're going to have to tweet at him.
Well, I'll tweet at him or whatever behind the scenes.
Email behind the scenes.
We've got Kim Kuhn next week.
Holy bejesus. That's gonna be
maybe
awesome.
we can meet her in person. How cool would that be? I don't know which of the radio groups has coverage. I think hers does. MRN is ISC and PRN is SMI, right? Somebody will tweet us.
I didn't know that they were track affiliated or track owner affiliated.
So they're owned. They're ownership groups.
I should have known that by now, but I don't.
Yeah,
there's a lot of things at my age that I should have known that, but I don't.
I feel bad that I don't know right now because it's 50-50, right? That's the hardest one to know.
Yeah.
So MRN is got a studio in the NASCAR Hall of Fame. I'm assuming that's NASCAR France family, which means it's ISC. Talladega is an ISC track. So I'm thinking Kim's going to be at Talladega.
Well, we're not going to be listening to it. We're going to be there. And
Oh yeah, we're gonna be. I don't know what the hell they did
Y'all are
down there
going.
in turn 3, but we're gonna be somewhere near there with coolers and food and cool ass people.
And awesome dude. Let's close this thing out. Thank y'all, as always, for being on. Bob Pockrass, dude. This has been. We've been trying to do. I shouldn't say we've been trying to do Bob Pockrass. We've been trying to have Bob Pockrass on for how long? And it finally worked out.
Good 4 years.
Oh yeah,
Good 3 or 4 years. So shout out to, what happened at Notre Dame getting burned down. Notre Dame getting burned down. So had all the things. But yeah, absolutely. Let's clear it out.
Let's do it. Y'all know what the deal is. You can follow us at PTM Podcast, ptmpodcast.com for all the latest and everything. And as always, Tailgate Mayor Rusty Wallace at Tailgate Mayor.
Yeah, you can search PTM Podcast on Google. You can find any place you would like to listen to a podcast. I promise you, it's there. Just scroll. And I'm Andrew Sherwin at Pregame Engineer. I'm actually moonlighting as Daryl Sweetwater III right now just for fun. And I'm Andrew L. Sherwin on Instagram.
Talk to y'all next week.
Love you, Sydney.
Boom. Another
Shakalaka.
show in the book. That's right. Freddie Rosado. Yeah, man.
Dude, that guy's been super supportive.
Oh, he's been awesome. He's been awesome. I know we didn't get to your question there, Freddie, on the show.
Oh, I forgot to look at YouTube for like an hour.
Oh, it's all good. But that was awesome. Y'all, Bob, Bob is I would say a trophy in the trophy case, but I'll put it a little like more where PTM After Dark right now. I'll say he's like a notch on the bedpost.
Without a doubt. Yeah, that's a better way to put it. He might actually appreciate that.
Right.
Like notch on the belt, notch on the bedpost.
Yeah.
Yeah. We crushed it.
Bob crushed it. I mean,
Bob,
and we were hinting at it. We didn't try to go too crazy.
Oh,
but
I didn't want to extend this too long, but I did want to say this, and this shirt makes me think about it. But on the Behind the Braves podcast that Ricky Mast and Greg McMichael do, they did their like 5 what are your coolest things.
I didn't know Ricky Mast was doing that.
Yeah, so
that's awesome.
Yeah, I think they're about 15 episodes in. It's good. You should.
Okay.
I mean, if you have free time. But they did like, what did you think was cool? And Ricky Mast, 2 of the one, like he immediately said, "All right, this is what we're doing. We're going to do what our 5, sort of favorite moments were." And he said, Chipper's last walk-off homer, which was supremely cool.
Yeah.
It was September against the Phillies, and I think 2011, 2012, I think. And then Brooks Conrad's grand slam that, like, we needed 4 runs to win.
Okay.
We scored 7 runs in the 9th inning, and 4 of them were on his grand slam, and you needed all 4 of his runs to win. And he didn't think it went over the fence. So, like, he saw
he's like
the
kind of
outfielder
half-trotting?
go up, and
Yeah.
the ball hit his glove, but it went over the fence. And so he kind of turned around, and the whole dugout was running at him. And he's like, he had to turn around. Like, he had already turned around from second base and then had to finish his run. That was cool to me.
So this and what was the topic again?
The topic was, what are your 5 greatest Braves moments that you experience some way, shape, or form?
So, boy, I mean
you were at the World Series game.
I was at the World Series game when we won. So it was top 5? Or
yeah,
top 6? Okay.
top 5.
Top 5. So there was one. So I said it before. Me and my dad used to have it was partial season tickets to Braves games, and so we saw some like just obscure games. There was one where I think it might have been Grissom. It might have been. I think it was Deion Sanders, and he was like, all his gold chains are his bases loaded. He
still had hair that was actually his.
Yeah. He's on first base. all his chains are going, and it's bottom of the ninth. There's 2 outs, bases loaded. He's on first base, and I think something about him with his chains going or whatever.
He's just distracted everybody.
Distracted the pitcher enough that the pitcher balked and walked in the last. Or no, he was on third base because then he come marching in and won
that's
the game.
awesome.
Yeah, that one was crazy. I would say otherwise though. That was that's one of them. Been to World Series game. I'd been to that. The Sid Bream thing has to be every Atlanta Braves.
That's right.
fan.
That's why I put it aside. I was texting Ricky, and I said I just threw out all the things that everybody would say.
I've got 2 home runs though.
Well, so Beam, go ahead.
2 home runs. One, Fred McGriff, his first day on the Braves roster. Was
that when the press box burned down?
The press box burned down, and Fred McGriff came in and hit a home run to dead center field like 410 feet in his first game. All happened in the same day. The other home run is Oso Blanco, man. His first one when his parents were there and they were crying and stuff. Like everybody shed tears.
You know what was so cool about that is I add a couple.
Here's my 5.
Add a couple more details to that is they were the field reporter. Mm-hmm. It wasn't Kelsey Wingard at the time. It was the one before that, the Burnett. Mm-hmm. Was interviewing his dad.
Yes,
and they were
there goes one.
They're cut away, and
yes.
and we didn't even actually see live him make contact with the ball, but his dad was like, "Oh boy." Or there goes one, or something.
Yeah,
to your effect. And it was like, okay, I saw Jordan Schaefer's first home run.
Oh, cool!
In his first at bat, watching on television. I saw Jay Hay, his first at bat, going yard.
Okay.
And then I said, I think my other favorites are Chipper Jones's last walk off, Brooks Conrad's grand slam. And B-Mac.
Oh, B-Mac.
Giving Gonzalez the business.
Yes. Love it. Love it. Y'all, PTM After Dark, we're having fun. But we gotta run. I gotta publish this thing. Gotta put it on the internets and stuff, and I kind of need to pee. So, thank y'all so much for being on. Hope y'all had as much fun as we did. And as always, we'll talk to you next week. It is what it is. We do our thing.
Kimmy Kuhn, host of Glass Case of Emotion.
See y'all then. Bye-bye.